we can start in the back with Robin Koch. He's one of your favorites, Stefan. I think Koch is who he is, right? He's the guy that you throw in because it's the 89th minute and you need an extra defender on the pitch. That's who he is. He's a decent Bundesliga defender who can play for a club like Frankfurt and get the job done. He's not someone who's going to win you matches or, at best maybe not lose you matches. This case, he dropped you 2 points because of a handball. We can talk until the cows come home whether there was a handball or not. I've given up understanding that law a long time ago and put the final nail in the coffin when UEFA flip-flopped around Cucurella. And so I don't even really care discussing this, but at the end of the day, he cost Germany 2 points. That's a fact. He is a huge drop-off from Rüdiger. I would say he's a huge drop-off from Jonathan Tah as well. And he's maybe also the drop-off of some of the guys that we're now seeing emerge with this U21 side that looks quite excellent, right? So I think maybe that is a good place to start. I think Robin Koch has a place with this national team, but I just don't think he's a starter.
Yeah, maybe has a place, as a kind of water boy or cheerleader or, maybe inspirational speaker in the changing room. But I seriously hope that he doesn't have a place starting as centre-back for Germany going forward. Look, he's not a bad player. As you said, he's a Bundesliga standard player. I'm not even entirely sure he's good enough for Eintracht Frankfurt, to be perfectly honest with you. I've watched them plenty this season, and every time I do watch them, he does kind of give me the fear a little bit with the problems that he shows. And I think Frankfurt have shown time and time again this season that they're very good up front, but in defence they're an absolute shambles, and he has not helped that for club or country. And you're absolutely right. I actually wrote my newsletter this week for the Gegenpressing newsletter on Nico Schlotterbeck, who played alongside him tonight, and this kind of interesting predicament that Nagelsmann probably finds himself in with this German backline, because if you do, as I pointed out in the newsletter, against Bosnia, he had Jonathan Tah and Antonio Rüdiger as his 2 central defenders, which makes perfect sense. But if you consider that by the time the next major tournament comes around, Antonio Rüdiger is going to be 33 years old. And as I said in the newsletter, Jonathan Tah, by that point, will be gathering dust on the bench at Bayern Munich or Barcelona, most likely. So Nagelsmann's probably thinking ahead of, in the next year or two and thinking, who's going to be my kind of centre-back partnership? Maybe Rüdiger's still a decent player at 33, but it's maybe a bit of a risk to assume that he will be. And everything, all roads kind of lead to Nico Schlotterbeck and this kind of need for him to develop into a top quality player. And ideally, you would have Schlotterbeck there alongside one of the kind of younger guys who are coming through. I thought Schlotterbeck was okay in this game. I don't think it was particularly bad. I don't think it wasn't really a standout performance, I would say. Although I wouldn't say he was particularly troubled either. So I'm not really in a position to kind of criticise his performance. But yeah, I thought Robin Koch wasn't great. And it's a little worrying that, he's in contention, to be perfectly honest with you. I think there are some decent young players who maybe could step in. And I'm sure Nagelsmann will maybe be looking into that, because I think there's now 5 months until the next international game. A lot can obviously happen, but I'm sure Nagelsmann has a short list of central defenders with a German passport that he'll be scouting extensively this season, because I think it could be a problem area for Germany in the years to come.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy scouting. You just have to go to Milan and, watch AC Milan and Inter Milan. They both have both teams have young German centre-backs, right? Yann Bisseck for Inter and Malik Thiaw for AC Milan, and they both play regularly, and they're both 23, and there you go, Stefan. That's your answer. And I suspect that we see those guys in this team pretty soon. They're 23 years old. They're an ideal age. They have played in a European top 5 league on a pretty steady basis. They offer you something that maybe defenders that play more in the Bundesliga don't quite give you. That stat fest, just solid defending. That Antonio Rüdiger. You have to remember too, when he left Stuttgart, he went to Roma, right? And a lot of what we see from Rüdiger today was that craft got learned in the Serie A. So, Bisseck and Thiaw, I think those are the names that jump out to me right away. And I think it's guys that we'll probably see in the spring.
Yeah, you certainly hope so. I mean, I'm a little surprised they haven't actually been brought forward yet. And, I don't think we really learned anything from Robin Koch playing in these internationals. He's not going to be a starter going forward. I don't even think he's going to be a backup going forward. And the sooner they can bring through these guys, the better. But as I said, going forward, I still think we still need Nico Schlotterbeck to kind of bridge that gap between Rüdiger and maybe the next generation. So it's something to keep an eye on. I don't think it's a huge problem right now. Obviously, Germany's defensive record in 2024 has been absolutely fine. Although I think they maybe did look a little suspect. They gave away quite a lot of chances against Bosnia, which we kind of forget because they created a lot of chances. And then tonight as well against Hungary, they gave away a few chances. And maybe that's Robin Koch's problem. Maybe it's defense's problem. Maybe it's the fact that I thought Robert Andrich looked very rusty in this game, like a lot of Leverkusen players have looked this season. So that's something to maybe consider as well. But yeah, defense-wise, I think everything else looks more or less in shape. Joshua Kimmich is kind of settled into that right back position perfectly well. He's quite happy there. Obviously, left back, we've got plenty of options there with Mittelstadt and David Raum. And of course, Benjamin Henrichs did a pretty decent job, I would say, at left back. He's obviously done it plenty of times at club level. And I was kind of joking with the subscribers that that's a classic Nagelsmann move to kind of call in Benjamin Henrichs. He's like his kind of go-to handyman for just about any position. He's like, could you play right back, left back, defense midfield? You'd probably stick him in goals if he had to. But he did a perfectly good job there. So aside from that centre-back position, I'd say the defence looks pretty solid.
Well, I also think that it's only a matter of time until Nathaniel Brown comes being called up. You know, he's been excellent for Frankfurt and he's excellent for the U21. So I think there is actually quite a lot of depth there, it seems.